Good morning. Welcome to the Connect podcast, a podcast by the Holdridge Area Chamber of Commerce. My name is Adam, and I'm really excited to jump into today's episode. We're going to be talking about networking, specifically networking as an introvert. I know there's not a lot of content out there about introverts in the business world, but we do exist. I say we because I consider myself a little bit of an extroverted introvert, even though I do things like a podcast and get in front of a lot of people and talk. But networking is one of the most important pieces of being in the business world. And if it feels awkward or exhausting to you, I think today's episode will help. So let's get into it. Before we get into today's episode, I do want to talk about a few things going on in our community here in Phelps County this week. CCC has a few different things going on. They've got their plan to plant, garden planning, chakra basics, their buttercream blooms. But I want to make sure I highlight a couple of things happening here at the Chamber. On March 11th, we've got a ribbon cutting for Raven Tech LLC. That will be at Colon Feed starting at 4. Make sure you make it out there. It's going to be a really special ribbon cutting. And then also don't forget that Level Up Your Succession Plan is coming up on March 21st. And that's over the lunch period. There'll be more details coming soon, but if you're wanting some information just on what you can do when you're ready to leave your business. Now, this is not just for people ready to leave their business right now. This is something you should be thinking about very quickly when you start a business, just in case. You never know what's gonna happen. So if you'd like more information on any of those events happening soon, make sure you head over to holdridgechamber.com, click on the events tab, and we'll get you taken care of. Let's get into today's episode, networking as an introvert. Now, recently I shared a social post and it just said introverts at work and a couple of tips on how entrepreneurs and business owners can foster their current employees, even the introverts, to be an advocate for their business. The interesting part about that post is I put it up, not sure that it was going to get a lot of traction. I wasn't expecting much putting that post up, but I did get 2 DMs that were just, could you dive a little bit deeper into introverts in the workplace? Because we do exist, even though it seems like an oxymoron. Why do we network? Why does networking even matter? We hear networking all the time when we talk about what the Chamber does for people and what you can get from an event. You hear networking. Networking is all about building real connections. It's not about collecting and passing your business cards. Believe me when I say we've got enough business cards, right? Networking is about building those genuine connections, and not for that event, but to last moving forward. Introverts here sort of have an advantage because introverts tend to be great listeners and thoughtful communicators. The goal isn't to meet everyone. The goal is to make a few meaningful connections that you can leverage in the future. Introverts have a little bit of a unique journey when it comes to networking because you do need to be prepared. Set small, manageable goals for each event that you're going to. Instead of meeting everyone, aim to make 2 or 3 connections that are meaningful. One of the first things I tell people when they're a little bit nervous about going to a networking event is to make sure you do your homework. Make sure you read about the guests that will be there, the event details, who's speaking, the businesses that might have booths, anything like that at an event will help you be prepared to know who and what businesses you want to align yourself with. Identify the speakers or businesses that you would like to meet. Ideally, pick out 2 or 3 that if you could only meet and talk to these businesses or these people, you would make it that point. That way you can streamline the process and not miss out on a potential networking opportunity that you really look forward to. Make sure you prepare some icebreaker questions or even a joke. I'm a dad. I love dad jokes. I always come prepared with something very subtle and a little bit funny just to get people laughing because it's a little easier to start a conversation when people are laughing. Questions like, what brings you to this event? How did you get started in your business? What's a project you're working on that you're really excited about? People love talking about themselves. This makes it easier for you to sit back and listen. Make sure when you arrive to the event, you arrive early. I am very guilty of being a late riser, but that's not always the most comfortable. Quieter rooms are easier for starting conversations. One-on-one moments are more likely to happen before the room fills up with people. If you're nervous about talking to a big group of people, find smaller groups or individuals to chat with. Look for someone standing alone or groups of 2 to 3 people. Take a break if it's needed. If you need to step outside, check your phone, use the restroom, grab a drink of water, that's perfectly acceptable. One of the things that business people miss when they leave a networking event is the follow-up. Sending a quick message within a few days of that event, just saying, hey, it was nice to meet you. I really enjoyed blank that you talked about. Let me know if you need help with blank. I'd love to reconnect soon, grab some lunch. If you'd like to work, set up a lunch or a coffee shortly. Say, hey, I'd love to grab lunch this week and talk about that project we were thinking of. In closing, networking does not have to be hard or exhausting. It's really just a human experience. Conversating with people who are like-minded and in the same path that you are in, because when we work together, things happen quicker. Networking is about building real connections that work for you. If you want to get some practice in, join the chamber at our next networking event, at ribbon cutting or an anniversary or groundbreaking. We'd love to have you practice some of the things we talked about today and let us know how it goes. Well, we hope to see you at our next event. Thanks for tuning in to Connect. We'll see you next week.